Hey Scoundrels, what's going on? Today we're going to be talking about a game where I played very aggressively. This is a game that was high master, it was kind of like master tier, high diamond, so pretty good lobby. Like, we had some master tier players in this lobby. I am very close to master tier right now. I'm midway through diamond 1, so I'm hoping I'll hit master by the end of the week, which would be great because that would be a really nice achievement for me, having just moved over from auto chess, and to go from not completely new to TFT, but never reaching higher than platinum in TFT to master would be a really big achievement for me. So what you're noticing is that we're in the reroll galaxy. This is a galaxy that I feel very much rewards two styles of play. The reroll galaxy rewards either aggressive play, where you're looking to get a really strong early board and look to capitalize on that by leveling early, or you look to essentially economy up to 50 gold and play for a reroll composition. So I really do think that those two styles of play are really rewarded in the trade galaxy. So what I'm looking to field right now are just strong level 1 2 cost units. Sorry, 1 cost level 2 units. That's the way I've got to say it. I like to field basically things like Graves, things like Malphite, and things like Caitlyn, and things like Twisted Fate. Now, the reason I've done what I've done here is because I actually believe with the 2-star Graves, the blaster bonus with Malphite is quite strong early on, and that's why I've decided to field the Lucian. Lucian actually does a good amount of damage in the early game with the blaster bonus, and I'm very happy to just throw him in. What I'm going to do on the next round is level up to level 4. Now, this is not the earliest you could have leveled up. I could have leveled up on the previous turn, but I'd spent a lot on units and couldn't actually afford it. So I level up to level 4 in the next turn, and this actually gives me a very strong board. Now, the positioning of this board matters. I obviously just have my Graves and my Malphite up front. I want my Graves and Malphite to take the damage, and then I have my Twisted Fate in the back corner with my Lucian in the middle of the back row. I want, if anybody is to get pulled in this composition, I'd like it to be my Twisted Fate, because my Lucian puts a significant amount of damage out, so I want him to be safe, and my Twisted Fate can usually take a couple more hits. I find a 2-star Lucian, and again, just keep re-rolling to pick up things that may be useful or may allow me to pivot into a composition that I want. If you have any idea about where this composition should go, well done. You've spotted the elephant in the room. This is a very good start for a brawler blaster composition. Now, to secure a really good win streak, what I would like is a red buff Lucian. So my aim on the carousel would be to go for a giant spell. A red buff Lucian would allow me to carry the mid game really, really easily, especially that my Lucian's already 2-star. Now, unfortunately for me, I was playing with 2 friends, and my friend trolled me and took the giant spell. So I didn't have many options left. The best option for me from the remainder of these items is the Brawler's Gloves. The Brawler's Gloves allows me to go for something like Quicksilver or an Infinity Edge if I'm really desperate for the Jinx. You can see here that there are 2 Lucians on the field. This is actually kind of spicy. I could very easily go for... well, there were 2 ways I could have played this. I was keeping the Graves around because I thought maybe a 3-star Graves was on the cards, and again, I wanted to keep the Lucians around because a 3-star Lucian, you know, I've already got 5 Lucians. I could very easily look for a 3-star Lucian. What unfortunately I did end up finding is that a lot of people in this game were trying to play Brawler Blasters, so I didn't actually find those Lucians. But I chose these Lucians because I thought, well, there's not many opportunities, you know, for you to early rush a 3-star Lucian, and that would essentially get me a very, very strong win streak position. So again, what you've seen me do here is level up. The reason I have leveled up in this scenario is because I want to protect that win streak, and I had something to add. This is something that a lot of people don't often understand with leveling up. You want something of value to add to your composition when you level up. Now, what I had to add of value was a Shen. Now, why was Shen valuable in this scenario? Well, the Shen was valuable because he offered the chrono bonus. You guys definitely didn't see me roll past an Ezreal there. I definitely didn't roll past an Ezreal there, who would have been a great addition because he's a blaster as well. If I'd got the Ezreal, actually, that probably would have secured this this build much better. But nonetheless, it's still a very strong build, and I was happy with it. We get another 2-star Lucian. And what I decide to do is level up to level 6. The reason I level up to level 6 here is just adding another 2-star Lucian. He benefits from the blaster bonus, and it's just another big damage increase for this composition. So again, aggressive leveling. I level up to level 6 much earlier than I would do usually, because we are in the reroll galaxy, and people are generally going to be stronger in the early game than they would be in a normal galaxy. If this was a normal galaxy, I'd wait till 3-3 to level 6 a lot of the times, if I was on a win streak. But because this is the reroll galaxy, it rewards aggression. Most people field very strong early boards, and that is why I chose to level up to level 6 ever so slightly early here, just because I want to maintain this win streak, and I'm going to be going up against people with very strong boards. One thing that you have to remember about win streaks is that I'm on a plus 6 right now, so my win streak is plus 6. Well, that means that I am generating generating plus 3 extra gold per turn than I would be usually. And that means that I'm essentially, with being at 30 gold, I'm essentially at 60 gold almost, because I'm getting 6 gold interest per round with the 6 gold interest per round with the interest from my win streak. So I level up to level 7 on 3-3 because I had the means to do so, and I had a unit to add. So I had a Vi to bring in, and I also found a Cho'Gath, which are 2 really big units to add for Blaster Brawlers. The reason I level up to level 7, again, to maintain the win streak. So whilst it looks like I'm on 0 gold, the win streak is giving me plus 3 extra gold per round, and that is acting like I am on, that's acting like I'm on 30 gold, because I'm getting plus 3 extra. So if I were just to get back to 20 gold, it would be like I was already on 50 gold in terms of the gold that I'm making. So I don't need to be greedy. I don't need to economy up to 50 gold and try and get 8 gold interest around. It doesn't need to work that way. So I sell the Twisted Fate, and now I bring on the Blitzcrank. This gives me the 4 brawlers. So I'm at level 7 now. I obviously can't actually add... I obviously can't actually add... 4 brawlers, 4 blasters right now. I have to wait till level 8 to do that, but I do have the 4 brawler bonus, which is going to make my front line that much more tanky, and that's going to give much more time for my Lucians just to pop off and do the work that they need to do. As soon as I find an Ezreal, the Ezreal's going in. The reason that is useful is because that gives me the chrono bonus, and that is just a little bit extra attack speed, which can definitely help out. And there we go, there's the Ezreal. I find him, and I decide to put him in over the Lucian. I keep the Lucian with the GA on, obviously. Again, in terms of itemization, you might be wondering why I'm not itemizing the way I am. You know, with these items left over. It's because I don't really have any items that I feel comfortable combining as of yet. The Quicksilver is there, so I definitely could add the Quicksilver, but again, adding it to a unit right now where I'm going to keep pretty much all of them, I would then just have to transfer it over to the Misfortune, so I don't have any like throwaway units at this point in time, and that's difficult. That's really difficult. And again, we are just like being super aggressive with our economy. We're just trying to be as, you know, essentially, as soon as I get the opportunity to level up to level 8 here, that's going to happen. The reason I want to get to level 8 is because there are 4 other, so me included, there are 4 Brawler Blaster players in this lobby. And I think you guys are probably going to be finding the same thing across most of the lobbies that you're playing. A lot of people playing Brawler Blaster right now. So what I do is I level up to level 8 and I find a Misfortune, which gives me the blasters. And then Misfortune can take the Quicksilver and go in the corner. And I'll give her the tier as well, because Misfortune's obviously, for the most part, going to benefit from having a tier-based item on her. Shojin's is best, but I'll have I'd have like a Seraph's on her as well, just to help her get her first ultimate off more quickly. Now I lose to this mech player. Unfortunately, that's devastating because I have no economy, but what I do have going for me is the fact that I've got 90 HP, and that's perfectly fine. You know, the fact that I've got 90 HP it means I can actually get back to 50 economy, and I think, you know, even though I lost to that one player, I think most players in the lobby I'm going to beat still. So I'm actually still going to beat most players in this lobby. For instance, this is, you know, I'm keeping eyes on the other Brawler Blaster players. This guy also playing Brawler Blaster, by the way, but I think maybe transitioning into something else. But he is running a red buff Lucian, and I'm still beating people with relative ease. You know, I have the Misfortune in. She's a pretty strong carry at this point in the game. So my main goal right now is just to economize back to 50 gold. Now, what I do find is a Jinx, which is good, and I find another Misfortune, and with the Nico's help, that's really big. The reason being is now I've actually got a level 2 Misfortune at 4-3, and that is very strong for my composition. That's super, super strong. In terms of itemization, the rest of the items I don't really want to use right now. There is an item that I feel like I could have used that would have been really good. That item would have been the Morellonomicon on my Misfortune. I think Morello's on Misfortune is a good item. However, that Giant's Belt could be used for a red buff. So I could use that red buff for Jinx. If I get myself a chain vest, that would have been the case. Don't get it. So what I'm going to take in this scenario is I'm just going to take the tier. The tier, I think, is the best option for me. It would allow me to get Seraphs for Misfortune, which is going to slightly increase my chance or my time to get her first ultimate off, which is obviously really big. I found a 2-star Vi and a 2-star Ezreal. That's really nice, a little addition. I wouldn't say that Seraphs is particularly good on Misfortune, just because it benefits people with low mana costs usually. But I couldn't really get a Shojin's, and there was nothing else that I really wanted to combine with the tier. The other thing that I could have gone for maybe was a Hand of Justice, but there wasn't an option on the carousel. So I just took the best option available to me, and just thought that, you know, getting an initial ultimate off first is always going to be a good idea. And now I'm just going to take the free rerolls every round, looking for a Jinx too. The problem that I have this game is I got very unlucky in terms of units. I got quite unlucky in terms of Jinxes, because the other Brawler Blaster players actually managed to find a load of Jinxes, and they rolled down on 7 and found their Jinxes as well. So I was a little bit unlucky in terms of finding Jinxes this game. But the way that you play around that is what I've done here, is I've just gone for the Misfortune. So that's the way I played around it was, you know, okay, I can't rely on Jinx, so I'm going to rely on Misfortune to be my carry until I can get Jinx or they get knocked out, because I'm actually in a super strong position. I pick up the larger cone and the kale for the Misfortune. Obviously, the upgrades for her are always really strong, especially at level 2. And now this is where I'm going to be able to see what items I can finally combine. After this is the last round where you have the chance to combine items. And I do find a Rabadon's Death Cap for Misfortune, which is really nice. And I also find a Giant Slayer and a red buff for Jinx. So that's basically perfect itemization. The thing that I'm going to be trying to look for now is going to level 9 to add the Valkyrie bonus. The reason I'm doing that is because my Jinx is 1-star. I can't rely on my Jinx to be the main carry, so my Misfortune kind of has to be the main carry. This guy was playing Protectors. This is a guy I was queued up with as well. He was playing Protectors, and he had such an insane Protector comp. Like honestly, you'll see it later on. His Protector comp is disgusting. Not much I could do about it though. Kind of just have to play. You play the board that you're given. So yeah, we're looking to go to level 9 to add the Valkyrie bonus, because I only have a 1-star Jinx. She's not going to carry the game for me. My Misfortune is going to get me far in this game. My Misfortune is going to be the carry that kind of puts me in the driving seat. Unfortunately, you see here, we're just losing to the mech player over and over again. He's got a GA on his mech, and his backline's doing very well. I mean, like, we're close to doing well versus him, but, you know, I think with Jinx 1 right now, I can't really be expected to win anything. So what you're seeing is just, like, hard ecoing for level 9. And at level 9, I have an even better chance of finding Jinx. This guy has got 1 off a 3-star Jinx, by the way. That guy's got 1 off a 3-star Jinx. So he practically has almost every Jinx in the game, which means it's going to be very unlikely. And I think there was also another 2-star Jinx in the game. It's going to be like ridiculously unlikely for me to find a Jinx 2. And so I have to basically rely on the fact that I'm going to level up and try and beat him in other ways. So when someone takes all of those units and you don't get your option for them, you have to try and beat them in other ways. And the other way that I'm going to try and beat him is going to level 9 and adding the Valkyrie bonus so that my Misfortune would carry. And again, it's more aggressive. It's basically utilizing whatever economy I've got, to get to the next level. And then force them out through aggressive leveling. That's what I'm doing in this game right now. I'm just trying to force out the opposition through aggressive leveling. So I think I'm 1 or 2 rounds away from being able to go to level 9. And as soon as I'm able to go to level 9, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try and add that Valkyrie bonus, and I'm going to basically make Misfortune my major carry here. So with the Rabadon's Death Cap, she actually does a significant amount more damage, and we beat this guy playing Bang Bros. This is a guy who was actually... we lose to the guy playing Bang Bros. But he's very low, and he's got a very good Bang Bro comp. I wouldn't say that GA is optimal on Master Yi, I don't think. I roll a bit more down here. The reason I rolled down is I wanted to find the 2-star Jinx, because I found the other one, and I did get it. So this was quite a big power upgrade for my composition, and because we're going into the neutral round, what I can do is I can get through this round, go into the neutral round, and then wait again to go to level 9. I basically have everything that I need apart from a 3-star Jinx. Everybody else is 2-star. 3-star Jinx is like my primary goal. And we can afford to take some losses because we had such a good early game with our aggressive leveling strategy. This is something that I want you guys to take away from this. Although we are starting to wane in the late game because the build that I'm playing is Brawler Blaster, obviously. It doesn't do as well in the late game compared to other compositions. Brawler Blaster, unless you get Jinx 3-star, is not a late game composition. It's a composition that is designed to do very well in the mid game, and it's a composition that does very well. Sort of from the early game as well. So it's something that you can play from the early game. So that's why I have been leveling aggressively, because essentially I wanted to protect the HP total that I generated from a good early game using blasters. And now I add the Valkyrie bonus. This is actually going to make my Misfortune much more powerful. You can see she just wipes off these, she wipes the infiltrators off the face of the planet. Unfortunately, the mech is actually the part that I'm having issues dealing with. My Misfortune takes too much damage before we actually get to, my Misfortune takes too much damage before we actually get to the point where her ultimate comes up again, so she can't use it on the mechs when they drop out. One thing that I do want to note is the way I'm changing up my positioning. What I'm doing here is this is the Protector comp. He's got 3-star everything, including a 3-star Kassadin with the Rabadon's Death Cap. The reason I changed my positioning around is I wanted to distract the Kassadin from my main composition, so I pulled my Malphite and my Kayle over to the left. I don't care about my Kayle, and my Malphite is the least important tank that I've got. So the way that I'm adjusting my positioning is as follows, and I want you guys to pay very close attention to this, because this is just some positioning stuff that is really important. Versus the Infiltrator mech player, I want my Malphite to distract the Infiltrators at the start, so that I can get my Misfortune and my Jinx to reset, as well as having my Kayle there as well. This is like super close. And we win by a sliver, but the positioning allowed us to win and preserve our HP here. I know that I am not winning this game without a Jinx 3. So I'm very well aware this game is not going to get won without a Jinx 3. What I'm aiming for is for second place. In this scenario, I'm aiming for second place. The reason being is that I'm never beating that Protector comp. Like most of the time, I am never beating that Protector comp. So the way that I play is either survive long enough to find a Jinx 3, or I survive long enough to find a Jinx 3, or just like try and allow those guys to beat each other up. I actually thought I was playing the Protector guy again, so I moved my Kayle over, and that unfortunately was my undoing here. As you can see, Kayle was actually a significant part of this composition. So I did make the error that I thought I was playing the Protector guy once more. So what I'm doing again versus the Protector player is I'm trying to split my comp up so that his Kassadin doesn't one-shot my entire team, which is why I put my Jinx over in the middle. I put my Misfortune on one side. I basically don't want this Kassadin to just completely wipe out my team. The Kassadin gets pulled into the back line, and then my Misfortune does pop off here, but it's just too much. It's just too much for me to get through. But I am reducing the amount of damage that I'm taking on a round-by-round basis, which is good. And you can see here, the mech player gets dropped down to 2 HP. So again, what I'm going to do is after this neutral round, I am going to essentially try and position specifically for the mech player again. I think the mech player will be next, so I'll show you again what I'm doing in terms of positioning. But remember, we got to a top 3 position purely through the aggressive play. We unfortunately could not find enough Jinxes to sort of win the game. We are rolling down for Jinxes, by the way, and we find another one that we're going to lock here. So we're gonna position for the Infiltrators again. Again, look. Graves and Ezreal blocking my Jinx and Misfortune from the backline. My Malphite distracting the Shaco and the Kai'Sa, and then we eventually get the win through Misfortune and Jinx. So that was just the way that I positioned to beat the Infiltrator, and we are 1 Jinx off away from a Jinx 3, which would essentially win the game for me. Now, the Infiltrator player got knocked out, so what I'm going to do again is I'm going to split my important DPS up. So I put my Jinx over in one corner, I put my Misfortune over in the other corner with the Kayle in the middle, with the hopes that I can actually do enough damage to essentially work my way through this. I do a lot of damage, but it's just not good enough to get through the 3-star Protector lineup. They just have two good items, and I get second. But again, aggressive leveling and aggressive playstyle got me a good second place, and a second place is a win with Brawler Blasters, in my opinion, unless you get Jinx 3. So that was a good game, I think, from us overall.